What is the best mobile DMR radio for 2020 for the new ham radio operator? Now, there's a catch to that. And we're going to talk about it all today on Ham Radio 2.0.
Shut up and sit down.
Hey guys, good afternoon. Welcome to Ham Radio 2.0. My name's Jason and I'm KC5HWB. On this channel, we do reviews, news, and how-tos of everything that's new in amateur radio. So, what does that mean? That means this is part of the new ham workshop. So the new thing in amateur radio today is possibly you. So this video is for all of you new hams out there, especially if even if you've been a ham for like 2 or 3 decades, but you're new to DMR, this is going to fit you as well. So DMR is a big topic in amateur radio right now, and especially on this channel. I do a lot of DMR radio reviews. I do a lot of hotspot reviews. I do a lot of, I've done some code plug stuff. I'm going to be doing some more code plug stuff upcoming. If you don't know what DMR is, go check out some of the other episodes on this channel, which will kind of pop up here and there throughout the course of this video. So right now, here and today, all right, let me preface this, because I know I'm going to have a bunch of you Motorola guys come in here and say, why didn't you do this? Why didn't you do this? So today I am talking about, dual band DMR radios. That's what we're talking about today, okay? At the time of this recording, dual band DMR radios do not exist outside of amateur radio and outside of China. Okay? So Motorola makes some stuff that's dual band and tri-band, I think, for P25, their Apex series. Motorola has a lot of really great, fantastic DMR radios that are all monoband. Your XPR series radios, like your XPR 6550 and 6580, your XPR 7550 and the 7550 Echo, I think, is the newest one, which are all HTs. Your mobile radios are XPR 4350, 4550, 5550. Kenwood makes an NX series, their Next Edge series. Kenwood NX 5800, NX 5850, which are monoband but dual mode. You can do P25 and DMR in these radios. They're all of those are great, fantastic rigs. There's nothing in the world wrong with them. They are commercially made and commercially priced. Okay, so just FYI, if you go buy any of those radios that I just mentioned new, a couple of them are discontinued, you're going to pay more for them than you would like an ICOM or a Yaesu or something. You can find a vast used market of those. You know, write down all those model numbers and go to eBay or go to QRZ and look at the swap classifieds in QRZ for any of those models I just picked up. If you find them in a Hamfest and you want to pick up one of those, they are great. You have to pay for the software and you have to pay for the programming cable. So you have to buy software and buy a programming cable for them, since they are commercial radios, not amateur radios. But the quality of radio there is absolutely fantastic, okay? So don't mistake what I'm about to say, or mistake this video to say you should never buy Motorola. Motorola's are great. They're just not amateur radios, and they're not dual band, at least not the DMR radios as of right now. So having said all of that, okay, once again, this video is going to be about the best mobile DMR radio for the new ham operator. And honestly, with the ones that you can get out there still, honestly, I think that going dual band is a very good idea. Very reasonable. And yeah, they're a little bit more money than some of the earlier model mono bands, but you're going to be more happy with a dual band, because all of these DMR radios we're going to talk about today will also do analog. Okay, so if you've got a 2-meter 440 mobile DMR radio in your vehicle, you may say, well, all the DMR repeaters around me and my hotspot is UHF. Why would I need VHF? Why do I need that? For DMR, you don't, or you may not. There are some VHF DMR repeaters out there. We have a couple of them in Texas. They're few and far between. You may not need that for DMR. But all of these radios also do analog. So you can take all of your 2-meter repeaters, analog repeaters, and program them into these radios. All of your UHF analog repeaters, and all of your DMR, whether they're all UHF or whether there's a want a VHF here and there, or your UHF DMR hotspot. And you can program all of that stuff I just said into one radio. So it's an all-inclusive, all-encompassing fact that the three radios I'm about to talk about will cover everything I just said, so you can have one radio in your car that does all your analog stuff and all your DMR stuff and be happy. All right, so at the time of this recording, there are basically 3 radios on the market, okay? As far as dual band DMR mobile radios, there's only 3, okay? So you're going to, and one of them is a tri-band actually. So those are the ones we're going to talk about today. It really is my recommendation that you start, that if you're going to get a dual band DMR radio, you start with one of these, because it's better. It'll be cheaper in the long run to spend a couple of extra bucks now and get this dual band radio that'll be good for the next several years, rather than buying a lesser expensive monoband, one of the older monobands like a CS800 or a TDR6100, and then realizing later on that you're like, well, I'd like to have VHF also so I can talk on my analog repeaters, and then having to either sell the first one you bought and upgrade or just purchase a second radio. So that's where that is. So basically, okay, in a nutshell, the 3 dual band DMR amateur radios today are the Connect System CS800D, the TYT MD9600, and the brand new Anytone D578. The D578 comes in a couple of different flavors. You can get one with APRS and Bluetooth. You can get one with just Bluetooth. You can get one with just APRS, and you can get one with neither of those. Okay? So if you get one with neither APRS or Bluetooth, you can get, they're about the same price as the other 2 I just mentioned. So there's a commercial Part 90 version of the Anytone, and there's a non-Part 90 amateur version of the Anytone. The basic difference between them is that the Part 90 is dual band, 2 meters and 440 only. The amateur version adds the 1.25 meter 220 band to it. So it's a tri-band radio for the amateur version, and the tri-band radio, the 220 band in that radio is only 5 watts, so it's not as powerful as the 2 meters and the 440 side, but it gives you a third band, which is really cool, and it's a really great feature in my opinion. So some of you will come along and say, well, Retevis makes an RT90. Okay, so the Retevis RT90 and the TYT MD9600 are the same radio. It's just one is stamped Retevis, one is stamped TYT. That's it. I think you can even read and write with the same CPS to them. I had a Retevis RT90 at one point in time, and I'm pretty sure I wrote my MD9600 code plug to it, but I don't remember because it's been a while. But for all intents and purposes, they're the same exact radio. Okay, so I don't really differentiate those 2 apart from one another. So there's a couple of other Chinese manufacturers out there that are making radios. And I think there might even be 1 or 2 other dual bands that are out there, but it's nothing that I've tested. So it's nothing that I really want to say, hey, you should go try this radio. Once I test more and have more information, maybe I'll do an update to this video later on. And also, let me say, because my last few best of 2020 videos have always been commented upon with pricing discrepancies, which may or may not be actual discrepancies, but prices fluctuate, okay? So when you're shopping for a radio, go shop. Don't just look at one website and buy it. Go shop the competition around and see who's selling it for what. Sometimes there's a minimum advertised price on these radios, and sometimes there's not, so it depends on where you buy it. So the very first ever dual-band DMR radio was a TYT MD9600, and the version 1 of that radio was kind of a failure because when it came out, it had a problem with every time when you would key up and talk to somebody and then let go of the microphone, the speaker would pop. It'd have this little pop in the speaker. And then when the other station would come back to you and they're talking, and then after they unkeyed, the speaker would pop. So it had this speaker pop problem that TYT claimed was an added feature. They said, well, that way you know when someone's finished talking because There's no squelch tail. So they wanted to do the speaker pop thing like a Roger beep almost. Okay, I don't know if I buy that 100%, but that's what they claimed. Also, the second problem with that radio was that the backlight, there was a backlight on the microphone itself, and it would never turn off. You power the radio off, but as long as the radio's plugged into your power outlet, either in your power supply in your shack or in your mobile vehicle, the microphone stayed on. The backlight on the microphone would never turn off. So eventually, over time, it would run down your battery. Okay, it wasn't very fast. It wasn't a very big draw, but it would run down your battery. And also at nighttime, people would look in there and say, there's something powered on in there. So it was kind of a safety thing. So they did a version 2 that was kind of like a test beta version, and then they did what they called a version 3, and everything since version 3 has fixed those issues. So basically, if you buy anything that's post 2018, you're okay with version 3 or later. Okay, this is a hardware version, not a CPS version, not a firmware version, but a hardware version. What they called version 3 was actually hardware version 2.01. And anything with hardware, if you get a TYT MD9600 and you plug it into your computer and you read it and you go look at the radio info in the CPS, it'll tell you a hardware version. If it's 2.01 or later, so in other words, a bigger number, then you're good. Okay, so no problems there. But they had the very first dual band DMR radio, 2 meters and 440, with a, not really a colored screen, but it had a blue backlight on it with black text, and that was it. But it had dual display, and it would show you the top band and the bottom band at the same time, so you could be monitoring this talk group here and this talk group here, and it was all good. And I think when it came out, it held like 50,000 contacts, but it's been upgraded. It'll now hold 100,000 contacts, holds like 3,000 channels. So dual standby, dual time slot, which is dual standby means it's not dual receive. So if there's activity on one band, it squelches the other band, and both of the bands won't come at you at the same time. Some people like that, some people don't like that. It's your preference. So that radio's been tried and true for a long time, and for a while, it was the only dual band DMR radio in the game at all. So they sold quite well. So you've got the ability to import one of your DMR HT code plugs into this radio, and so you don't have to build a new code plug from scratch. And then since the radio's been around a long time, it's fairly easy to find code plugs for. So a lot of your friends who are into DMR may have a code plug for this radio already. So that's one good thing about it. The second one to come on the scene was the Connect Systems CS800D. Now, there's a CS800, which was really kind of the first mobile DMR radio made for the amateur radio community, and it was a monoband. They made a CS801, which was a VHF only, but the original CS800 was a UHF only. It would only hold about 65,000 contacts, and I think 1,000 or maybe a couple thousand channels. The programming software is free. The programming software for all three of these radios is free. And the CS800 was popular, I think, because it has detachable face. Now, let me go ahead and I'm going to go ahead and turn over here for a little bit. I've actually got one of each of these radios right now. So there's the one on the bottom is the Anytone, the one in the middle is the TYT, and the one on the top is the Connect Systems. Obviously, the TYT in the middle has the larger screen. The Connect Systems up top has the smallest screen, really, because it's dual band, but it's only single display. You can only display one channel at a time. So you can do a scan. You set up a scan. You set up receive groups and all that kind of good stuff. But you cannot display two bands at the same time the way that the TYT and the Anytone does. But I will tell you this. One of the most popular things about the Connect Systems radio is the fact that it is the only one on the market right now today with a detachable face. So a lot of people who have room restrictions in their vehicles, they're like, man, I've got to have a detachable face. I don't have room to put this big honking radio on my dash or between my seats or something like that. I need a remote. I need to put the radio under the seat or in the trunk, and I need a remote face for it. The Connect Systems is the only one that does that right now, unfortunately. Unfortunately, they have the market cornered for dual band DMR radios with a remote face. It's just it. And they did it correctly, by the way, because you plug the microphone into the face of the radio, not into the body of the radio. ICOM, so many ICOM radios. My ID 5100 in my truck. It's got a detachable face, so I got the face up here, but the microphone cord plugs into the radio underneath the seat. Why can't you plug the microphone into the face of the radio? It makes no sense. Connect Systems did it correctly. Connect Systems takes the microphone and plugs it into the side of the radio, and then in the back of, the side of the face, and then in the back of the face, you've got a Cat5 cable coming out, and it goes to your radio that you have mounted elsewhere in the vehicle. So very easy to set up, very simple. It's just a standard Cat5 cable. There's nothing special about it. So, FYI, that is the only one. The TYT and the Anytone, neither one of them have remote capability at this time. I'm going to talk to you about the Anytone here in a minute because there's some updates coming to it that are in the works but are not available yet. So once again, you've got your CS800D with the, and I'm pretty sure I couldn't really find this on the Connect Systems website. I really don't like it when the manufacturers don't list all of the information. But if you go to the Connect Systems website and you go, and the links to all these things will be in the description below, in the YouTube description below. Okay, I just found it. Okay, I stand corrected. So the CS800D at the time of this recording will hold 130,000 contacts and 4,000 channels. And that's a good number of channels. That's a good number of channels, but 130,000 contacts will not cover the entire database. At the time of this recording, there's right around 160,000 contacts in the entire worldwide DMR database. The TYT only holds 100,000, and the Connect Systems holds 130,000. Okay, so neither one of those will hold the entire database. But if you're in the USA, all you do is you just take all the people from the USA and put them in your database. Okay, if you're in the UK, take all the people from your country and put them in the database. Or put them in the radio, I should say. So, it is what it is. So, just take that into consideration. I'm hoping to see some firmware updates that will expand those memory capabilities later on. But as of right now, those are restrictions for both of those radios. Neither one of them will hold the entire database of contacts. The CS800D does have a Bluetooth and GPS option that you can add to it later on. Neither one of them have true APRS. So there's a difference there. If you don't know the difference, we can cover that in another video. So the newest, latest, and greatest radio to the scene as far as dual band DMR radios, which is actually a tri-band radio, is the one on the bottom, which is the Anytone D578 radio. Now, I've done about 3 different videos on this radio so far. The first one was just kind of an unboxing and going through the menus. The second one was how to load a code plug, which you can take your Anytone D868 your D868 or your D878 HTs, and you can load the code plug from an HT into this mobile radio. And the third one was I compared the features between it and the 9600. So it's similar to this video I'm recording today, but this video today goes into a little bit more depth than the last one did. The D578 will hold 300,000 contacts. Okay? So you've got almost twice the capacity of the entire worldwide database right now. Okay, so you're not going to have any trouble holding contacts in the D578. Done. Load the whole database and walk away. It holds 4,000 channels, and it'll hold 10,000 different talk groups. Now, there's a private contact, which is your individual people, and there's a group contact, which is your talk group, and there's a difference there. Again, we're not really doing DMR definitions today. I'm just telling you about the radios. I've got DMR 101 episodes on this channel. You can always look for those, but I'm probably going to do some more stuff with that upcoming. Once again, so the 578 is advertised about 60 watts on 2 meters, about 50 watts on UHF, and about 5 watts on 220. Now, one of my videos, I did power tests. I didn't really get that on the VHF, UHF side. It was closer to like 40 watts on UHF 440 and 50 watts on 2 meters. But it's still, I mean, that's a good number to have on a radio that is a dual band radio. So you get to add the 220 band, and yeah, it's a low power, but, you know, it's better than not having 220 at all. You still got an external antenna. You've got 220 in the radio. If you've got some 220 is a band that has a very low noise floor. So if you've got 220 analog repeaters in your area, it's very possible you could work them for with this radio. I mean, it wouldn't be a problem at all. But 300,000 contacts, 4,000 channels, 10,000 talk groups. One of the good things about now this radio, I didn't mention the price of the TYT. So at the time of this recording, the price of the CS800 Delta is right at $299. $299 on connectsystems.com. And again, you can see the links to all three of these radios below. The MD9600 at the time of this recording on R&L Electronics is $269. So it's a little bit less. Does not have the removable screen feature. Okay? Or I'm sorry, the remote mounted head feature. Okay? Also on R&L Electronics, and R&L is one of my sponsors, as I've mentioned in the past. The version of the D578 UV3 without APRS and without Bluetooth is $299. So it's the same price as the Connect Systems radio, a little bit higher price than the TYT radio. You can get a version, once again, you can get a version of the Anytone with Bluetooth only, with APRS only, or with both. Now the version with both is about $399. So it's $100 more to add both Bluetooth and APRS, and that's a minimum advertised price from Anytone. That's why if you go to Bridgecom, or you go to R&L, or you go to HRO, I think was selling them for a while. They may still be. Or these other websites, all of those radio prices are going to be the same everywhere. Now, people like Bridgecom and R&L will oftentimes give you like a free antenna or external speaker or some kind of added extra with it, but the price on the radio is going to be the same because Anytone requires their dealers to sell it at that price. Okay, so which is cool, not a problem there. But you're going to pay an extra $100 for that Bluetooth and APRS capability. Now, here's the thing. Here's why you should get the Bluetooth. You should consider the Bluetooth. Anytone is working on. I've got this from about 2 different sources. Anytone is working on a remote head for that radio that will be Bluetooth. So, unlike the Connect Systems that has to have a line running from the remote head down to the radio wherever you have it mounted, and unlike the TYT radio, which has no remote capability at all, Anytone's going to be releasing a face by itself. I have no idea how big it'll be. I heard the rumors. I checked with a couple people I know, and I've had at least 2 or 3 people tell me, yes, that's coming. Confirmed. It's coming. Okay. You're going to see it on this channel as soon as it's available, I guarantee you. But they're going to have a Bluetooth head that you can you can mount in your car somewhere, and then you can Bluetooth it to your radio that's mounted in the trunk or under your seat or anything. And I don't know where the microphone connection is going to be. They may have it. Right now they make a Bluetooth microphone where you don't even need the microphone on the radio. You can use a wireless Bluetooth microphone into the radio. So maybe you can use a wireless Bluetooth microphone and have your Bluetooth face for your radio and see what channel you're on and who you're talking to, and have your radio mounted in the trunk. Bluetooth stuff in the car, very cool. Very cool, forward-thinking amateur radio. So that's always good. But those are the 3 dual-band DMR and analog mobile radios that I would recommend to you today. I've used all of them. You can see right there I've got all of them. I've used each one. Each one has good features. Each one has features that I'm like, man, I wish they would add, like the TYT should have had a removable face. I mean, they would have really cornered the market if they had a removable face because they have such a large screen. Anytone, I think, is kind of moving in that direction, but on the Bluetooth route. So you have to get a Bluetooth version of their radio to get it to work, because that wouldn't work with the $299 version, which doesn't incorporate Bluetooth. So that is where we are there. Hey, guys, 73, put your comments below. Let me know who has one of these radios, what you think about it. If you've compared the radios in the past, let me know what you think about the comparison. And if you have something else that you've seen, you're like, well, what about this? What about this? I'm always looking for new radios to review, especially for DMR. So, but if you're new ham, welcome to the hobby. Hopefully you'll get some use out of this video. Check out these videos over here for HTs and mobile radios for the new ham in the new ham workshop on Ham Radio 2.0 73. We'll see you next time.